Types of community development project.
First is homeless prevention. The Urban Justice Center in New York. New York Development and Community Program at Preventing Homeless in the Community. The Homeless Outreach of Prevention Project seeks economic empowerment for low and income families. So, it is used to studies indicate that prevention is the most effective when given people at high risk. Permanent deep rental housing such as those provided through the Housing Choice Voucher program have been shown to be highly effective in preventing homeless, and we will good help at lot people who homeless. Adult job placement. Adult job placement services community development program help adults in the community find employment. The Greater West Town Community Development Project in Chicago is one community program works with employee residents and local employers. Local companies team the community organization target to displaced workers. So it is used to you to experience that training and give the opportunity to you to gain more experience, adult job, and try new career to your life and learn more about benefits and how to work to your job. And you are find like Greater West Town Community Development Project in Chicago, and there are so many programs that works with employee, resident, and local employer.
Neighborhood stabilization. A neighborhood stabilization program targets areas hit hard by foreclosure and home abandonment. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development developed the Neighborhood Stabilization Program. This organization coaches foreclosed and abandoned homes in the community. In suffering neighborhoods, abandoned home may become center for drugs and or other crimes rings. A neighborhood stabilization program may demolish the abandoned home or redevelop vacant properties for productive use. Community development organizations such as this help reduce the foreclosure statistic in the community and improve the overall economic outlook. So, neighborhood stabilization is to hit area hard for foreclosure. So, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, they developed the neighborhood stabilization program, and they will purchase it to help the suffering neighborhood abandoned homes maybe become the center for drugs and other crimes. So this is help to overcome the crisis of addiction, and it help and assists households whose annual incomes providing emergency assistance to stabilize communities. Domestic violence. Domestic violence community project provides relief to survivors of abuse. The program offers a safe haven for survivors and their children to heal. These community development programs are led by people who support and encourage survivors of domestic abuse. A survivor of domestic violence may also learn the tools to take legal action against the abuser. Community organizations provide lawyers to assist in keeping the families safe. A domestic violence community program positively impact the town by lowering the rates of abuse and loss of life. Domestic violence. So they're providing relief to survivor of abuse. Their program offers a safe haven for survivors and children healed because of violence or abuse in any form has serious health consequences for the victim, and there will be a community organization to provide a lawyer to assist and keeping family safe and survival. So there are help to lowering the rates and abuse, and it helped to make a peace.
Activities in community development project. All things you do around on your community had a big impact to everyone. Like do things to your community. Some of these take a few minutes and others a bit longer, but they all help out in some way. Especially try pitching in to do tasks for neighbors who can't do them themselves, like folks who are ill, elderly, or busy with work or childcare. For example, walk kids home from school, rake leaves for an elderly neighbor, mow your neighbor's lawn, offer dog walking services, clean up cigarette butts on the ground. Teach things to your community. We'd all got things that we're good at, so why not share those skills with others? If teaching feels a little intimidating at first, try using this tip for teaching anything to anyone. First, help kids with their homework, teach underclass in safe social media practices, give free music lessons, coach a youth sports team, educate beachgoers about sustainability. Fix things in your community is also included in this activity. If you see a problem in your community, consider doing something about it. Sometimes the best service we can do the places we love is to take care of them. For example, start a little free library, lace campfire safety plugs near campsites, clean up your local park, beautify your area with seed bombs, help a neighbor or community organization paint fence or building, and also host things in your community. Here's your chance to flex your event planning muscle and put on something that will bring folks together. After all, the only thing better than community service is doing it with friends. For example, host a bake sale, host a clothing swap, host a holiday meal, host a competitive book drive, and host activities for kids in hospitals. In short, Neighborhood and Community Center Coordinator have described community development as a planning services, running support, and social action group. Make things for your community. There's something special about receiving a hand-baked gift, and we're sure there are plenty of people and places that would really appreciate it. Make and send items to folks at elderly care facilities, family shelters, or hospitals to make their days a little brighter. For example, knit scarves or hats for family shelters, bake cookies and snacks for food pantries, write letters to senior in care facilities, make quilts or blankets for kids in hospital, build birdhouses for your neighbors. The other example of this is feeding program. Through this, you and your members give time to help poor people or especially malnourished children in your community in the small things.
Community development. It's what we do, but defined in so many ways, working with individuals, communities, and systems. Community development is about reaching out to each other, building on strengths, and supporting people to reach their goals. It's about developing relationships. Sometimes advocacy. Sometimes it's not about developing, but redeveloping individuals and communities that have been disenfranchised. Sometimes it's about asking tough questions. As community development practitioners, we help citizens to realize their expertise and their capacities. There is no cookie cutter, so sometimes community development can be slow, messy, and hard. But it can also be remarkably rewarding. Together, we are building a better Calgary, so that Calgary can be better for the world. Our community has grown at a tremendous pace, and we have to keep up with changing demographics, evolving communities, and an evolving practice. It is through responding to that need that the conference emerged. Over the last decade, we've shared stories of youth, Aboriginal communities, seniors, newcomers, and community development with residents, as well as highlighting funders and profiling new and innovative approaches. So, what does that look like in the community? The Calgary Vietnamese Youth Association invests time to listen to and understand disenfranchised youth in order to support empowerment. They focus on a holistic method, helping community members to thrive, with the understanding that they are key to change in their community. The youth benefit from the whole story, their history, their present, and their future, enabling them to grow as active community leaders and role models for others. The Calgary Urban Aboriginal Initiative supports and enhances work across multiple groups. By engaging a broad base of stakeholders, QI affects real and sustainable advances for urban Aboriginal people. This cultural-based, grassroots gathering brings together Métis, First Nations, and Inuit, as well as non-Aboriginal people to collaborate, exploring issues and recommending solutions. By taking the necessary time to build relationships through trust and respect, sustainable, positive change is made. The Calgary Public Library started the Building Bridges program to meet the needs of new immigrants living in Calgary and to empower them as lifelong learners. Based on the premise that as individuals become more confident, they look for ways to give back to others and invest in their community. Meeting citizens where they're at can have long-term impacts. The Living Library Volunteer Program, a key component of the Building Bridges project, is an example of this. The program brings volunteers together to share their social and cultural identities with others, enhancing our understanding of diversity. This inclusive environment helps volunteers to develop new skills and expand their circle of contacts. The Calgary Foundation has invested over $1.4 million to help ordinary Calgarians create stronger neighborhoods and communities, one community garden, knitting circle, or diversity dialogue at a time. They understand that communities really do take ownership when they're given encouragement. The Calgary Foundation has learned to never underestimate what even the smallest steps can accomplish when the direction is set by the people who deeply know and love their neighborhoods and communities. After all, they're the ones most affected by the results. Family and community support services have a goal to strengthen neighborhoods. Their strategy is to fund local organizations focused on inclusion, believing that this prevents or minimizes the impacts of social problems. Over the long term, this means communities will have sufficient knowledge, leadership, and skills to confront the challenges facing their neighborhoods. Community residents, community development practitioners, and community supporters come together to learn, grow, and strengthen their communities. Through focused efforts by the United Way, the concept for the Genesis Center emerged. The model of this project was to engage and support residents in telling the story of their neighborhoods, the great stuff and the tough stuff. This provided the basis for meaningful collaboration. In order to do this, the agencies involved had to learn how to be led by the residents and to see residents not as clients, but as citizens and partners.